Here I am again on a Monday, writing code like I normally do. For those who are interested, and for anyone who cares, this is a continuation of a project that I started. I guess it's been a couple of weeks ago. At one particular point, I wanted to try to build something a little bit more complicated with nestjs and React on the front end. So this is my attempt to build a trading journal and kind of the ups and downs. Hopefully this will serve to inspire someone else to kind of build a passion project. But at the same particular point, hopefully it will also serve for people kind of interested in programming and learning programming as a kind of a guide on how they can section things off, how they can build things, some good and bad things. I don't necessarily think that my approach is the best. I think it's all right. I think there are lots of little things that I could do better and think about in a different scope, and I think that's part of the process for me. But hopefully it serves to do that kind of an online or an ongoing journal of how to approach it and how you could use it. Also, there are a bunch of, I think, technologies in here that I didn't feel were well documented. And so hopefully this provides some additional documentation for people who are interested. So for instance, I thought the use of SQLize with nestjs was a little light. I thought that the approach of how to use React forms with React Bootstrap was a little light. I don't think it does a good enough job of explaining how to do authorization with nestjs. Like, sure, you can just add that. I don't think it does a good enough job at explaining how you can do unit tests. So hopefully someone down the road can find this helpful and useful. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. There's a lot of projects on GitHub, so but maybe the stream will help as well. So as kind of a quick revamp on where we are with this project, I've finished the majority of the back end. As I've been going along, I've been taking notes on little things that I'd like to improve upon. So for right now, I don't have a password change system implemented, and that's one of the things that I want to do. I do have the ability to get all the list of exchanges, but I don't have it saving to the user profile yet. Things of that particular sort. So that's some of the stuff that I'm going to start to implement at this particular point, is the integration between the front end and the back end. Now, as far as the front end goes, I've implemented some pieces of that. Give me a second, and I will show you where I'm at. I was just in the midst of doing some fixes here, and it kind of broke the front end. So let's take a quick look at what the front end looks like, and we can kind of go from there. Now, I've been using ChatGPT to kind of help fill in some of the spaces. So here we go. Here is the OS Trade Journal. I call it OS because it stands for Open Source Trade Journal, because everything that I'm doing is, for the most part, free and open source. I picked up a series of photos from unsplash.com, so thank you to everyone who contributed that. I've used photo credits. When you're doing open source projects and you're using other people's code and what have you, don't forget to thank the people who helped make this, who helped make the things possible. So here we have the front page of the Open Source Trade Journal. That's all that I have for the front page right now. I suppose I should create an about page. These talking points and what have you, all of this is written by ChatGPT, so I don't think it's by any means good. If I ever get more serious about it, I'll probably have someone who has a marketing background come through and take another look at it. The images, again, I thank to Unsplash, and I've credited everyone in here. If you go and take a look at the GitHub, you'll see I've credited everyone, and you'll be able to quickly see what's going on there. I should probably put that. I'll put a little note over here in the README to thank the artists who provided the pictures. So this is what I've done so far. I've also implemented both the login and the register system. So for our login system, here it is. Let's see, I have a pre-existing login that I've been using over here, test one. So here is the one of the users. You can both log in and register at this particular point on the site. And so this is my internal pieces. I've also implemented a kind of user profile page where it allows you to change the password and or change your stock preferences and your language. Now at this particular point, I don't have it saving to the backend, so we'll work on that today. And of course I have logout working as well, and I have register. So those are all the pieces. There's a lot of moving pieces to all of this. It does use Redux Toolkit, so there's a whole lot that went into that. And we do actually implement a refresh token. The way that the refresh token works is when a person logs in, we give them a JSON web token, and we give them a refresh token, and we give them an expiration date. The JSON web token only lasts for 2 hours, and then the refresh token lasts for longer. And what we do is we send the refresh token if we check the expiration date, and if the JSON web token has expired, we send a request for a new JSON web token and refresh token and expiration date to the back end. We validate that it's a good user, validate that they actually exist in the system. We don't just say, okay, cool, you're good. And then we send them a new JSON web token and a new refresh token, so forth and so on, so that the person can keep going. We could just send a new JSON web token and a new expiration date, but I just opted for all three. So that's implemented as well. So every 2 hours, when I try to send a request, it will try to make that request. And if it fails, it will just kick the person back out, because somebody who might have gotten some weird refresh token and didn't actually log in or doesn't exist as a user, we don't want them in the system. I don't think this is the best approach. It is just an approach. We also don't have any type of password limitation at the moment. So that's another thing that I'll kind of incorporate down the road as like good password rules, so forth and so on. And again, this is a trade journal, so this is just being able to track somebody's trades or track your own trades and kind of see where they are. Now down the road, I may implement some type of support system and things like that, but the general idea is to be a challenge for me to kind of build everything from scratch for the most part and kind of see how things go. So right now I was working on the dashboard, but I also wanted to sit down and work on the user profile. So the dashboard is kind of bare, as you can see. Let's go ahead and take a look. Here's our user profile. For the internal pages, I probably should move the trade journal down to the bottom, but I don't know. I'll mess around with that right now, actually. So there's just so many pieces that have been implemented since I last did this stream. Let's kind of go over a quick review of them. On the back end, I didn't really do much except implement the rest of the authorization token, the refresh model. So again, so that was implemented. That goes ahead and requests a new refresh token. All of that was implemented. What hasn't been implemented are the tests for it. But all the rest of the stuff has been mostly implemented previously. So there wasn't much change there. As far as the front end, though, there were a lot of pieces that were implemented. So I'll kind of step through those pieces so that people can kind of see. One, here are all of the images. It's a fairly quick recap. I've implemented a couple of helper functions. So one of the things that happens is when let's go back to the logout page and log in. I'm using React hook forms to help with this, along with React Bootstrap. So I've implemented error handling in my form here. So there is error handling on some level, and I have it so that if we give bad data and try to log in, it must be an email address. It actually gives me information from the back end. I think I have an extra comma in here, though. Yeah, I think I do. Let's take a quick look. I think. Is that a... Nope, that's not a comma. It was just a speck on my screen. So yeah, I have it returning information from the back end to the front end. So that's all there. And this error helper goes through and allows me to display those error messages, whether they're an array or a single one. Following along with the approach from another developer that I found, and I do credit them in the README, is there's this history. So it's really tough to get access to the history in React outside of a component. So what you can do is you can come up here, you can create a kind of helper function, a helper class, or really it's just a function called history. And then when the app initializes, you can just say history.navigate equals use navigate, and history.location equals use location. And that way inside, let's say your store, for instance, we have all of our slices over here. We can, inside of that, say, for instance, in logout, we can say history.navigate, and it can leverage the React router navigation system. As you can see here, we have our helpers. We have our store with our various slices in it. Right now, I have the broker slice. It's empty, but we have the exchanges. This gets our list of exchanges. It's probably easier to see inside of GitHub just because there's a lot here. But again, I took some cues from another developer and kind of built off of that. They create a lot of their initial pieces up here, the initial state, the reducers, and the extra actions and extra reducers. And then we create our slice and pass all of that in. Now, one of the things that kind of seems a little bit odd at this particular point is I'm kind of a big fan, I must admit, it's a personal preference, of arrow functions. But declaring them that way seems to mean that they're more declared as variables than they are as functions. So when I change these over into const arrow notation functions, the system couldn't find them as easily and created a whole bunch of problems. I did try it though, so and there might be some things like I could just take these and move them down here, but there's a weird chicken and egg situation here. So all of these have to be created, and then this needs to be created. So all of these would need to be created before I created the slice, and then extra actions, which is not created into down here. I have to rearrange this in a very different way. And again, I don't mind doing so. I just don't know if it was. I didn't feel like it was worth it. So I just kept these as just generic functions that could be created for anyone. I keep a lot of the information and data in local storage. So when a person logs in, I don't actually have it grab the initial exchanges, because if a person doesn't ever need to change the initial exchange, then why? I save it to local storage. I don't have any reducers for this particular one, and the only thing we really have it do is get exchanges, which doesn't require anything. Here's my extra reducers here. This is the way that you kind of have to build them these days. So you have your builder, your function, and again, I'm choosing to do it this way. You could just do it in a much simpler manner, but I chose to aim in this direction, again, following the cues of another developer. We save our exchanges, and we get it from state, so it's not too terrible. The implementation of it is here. I broke these off into smaller implementation files. I think I should probably, as I'm starting to create quite a few items in our store, I'm probably going to break these off into folders so that they don't clutter up as much. But here's an example of where we're using our bearer token and we're making a call to the back end. Now, one of the things that I found was made me a little grumpy was in Redux. There is, when you create the async thunk, you might want to not pass anything. So for instance, this is a simple GET request. It doesn't actually have any parameters that are being sent along with it. But you have to put something here in the front. You just can't have an empty array. An empty series of parameters. You have to put something. So it's an underscore here and then comma. Now if you do have stuff to put in here, and I'll show you that implementation as well, like the refresh token does have something, you'd pass that in, or in the case of the login, here's your email and password, you do pass that in. But if you don't have anything, you have to put something here, otherwise it doesn't quite work right. I was a little grumpy about that. For our bearer token, here's the implementation that I ultimately went through. To get access to the store outside of Redux, you import it this way, and any other actions you want to use. Ultimately, rather than kind of do all of the refreshing in here, I opted to just make it, to just build it into the React Redux system. That way it could handle all of the updating of it, and I'll show you that in a minute. So we get our user state, we get our, we validate if there is a user, and so there's this function down here that says, hey, try to, if we don't have a user, go ahead and log out. And again, this is an example of using the existing dispatch rather than trying to create my own function that does all of that cleanup. And we're going to throw an error unauthorized user. So if there's no user when we get here, just kick them out. And then we get the date, we get the current date, we compare, and if the dates are valid, then we return the JWT, otherwise we return null. Clearly, if there's a JWT token, we just continue to pass it up, which ultimately leads to here. That would be our actual bearer token. If there's no token, we go ahead and try to get a new one. So we grab the refresh token from the user, and we again just call on the Redux dispatch to refresh the token. We pass in our refresh token, and again, it handles all of this. So I no longer need to say, hey, now go ahead and try to update the user object in store and so forth and so on. By using the dispatch and pre-existing actions and Redux and reducers, it'll handle the update for us. So it's going to go ahead, get the refresh token, do the update to the user. We simply request an updated user, and then we do the same thing. If there's no user because something has gone wrong, we want to log the person out. We don't want to let them just hang on this screen in case something has gone. One, in case something has gone wrong, but two, if it's some type of person who has hacked the system. Two, we then do the comparison again. It should now be up to date, and we return a valid JWT. Otherwise, we're going to return null, which I don't know if I feel like this should generally be okay. There are some things that I have questions about. I should probably put in a note here that says, hey, if this final step doesn't work, and again, I can't imagine why you wouldn't have a valid date, because clearly, well, I guess that's not true. So let's say, I guess the scenario could be that we have a user, we try to get the user from the JWT. It's still a valid user, but it's expired. So we've come here, and let's say we retest again, and we retest again. It tries to do a refresh token. The refresh token is also invalid. I'm not sure why they would have all of that, but let's say the refresh token is also invalid. Therefore, when we get the new user state, it's still an invalid. It's still a, it's still a valid user, or at least there is a user ID, even if it's wrong. But the expiration date and the authorization, the expiration date is still wrong. So I should probably do another check here that says, if we've gotten this far and it's still null, let's say, let's call it update. Yeah, we'll say this: if there's no updated JWT, then we're going to log them out. Otherwise, return updated JWT. So that way we'll catch anyone who managed to somehow, you know, hack the system in that way. We'll do this. We'll put in one more layer of kind of protection in there that'll catch that. So there we go. Yeah, so that should work. And we'll actually test it out in just a moment to see. I'll put that on my list. Test expired rare token. So we'll go ahead and test that in a few moments. So yeah, this is how I handle the bearer token. Now, as for the user, because I am using a reducer to handle it, when it gets the updated refresh tokens and JWT tokens, I can just simply use this. I no longer need the debugger. I can simply use this to update the user in the system and just keep going. Yeah, none of this is particularly fancy stuff. We're just storing the user, clearing out a couple comments here that aren't valid. You'd actually be surprised. I feel like in a professional environment, you don't see nearly as many comments in the system. And now this is one thing that I probably should get rid of. I'll take a note of it. It's a magic string, if you will, because what I'm doing here is if I want to navigate to say, or have it so that they default navigate to home, I'm going to have to find every place where I did the slash and change it. And since I'm in here, I will go ahead and create let's create a new folder, shared. And we'll create some constants in here. Yeah. Shared. Hold on a second. Throughout. Yeah, let's call you shared. I'm trying to think. I've noticed that I have run into a problem where I don't always, and we're not allowed to use enums in here. So shared, shared class, I guess it could just be a const. We'll call it default URL, default home path, and it's just going to be equal to that. And that way, in our user slice, yeah, we'll use that shared constant rather than hard coding it in. And that way, if we ever need to change it, we could just change it one time and it'll change it everywhere. And I went too far. I just want everything inside source. Yeah, so here we go. So let's change you to be equal to default home path. Yep, and let's try that search again. And again, this just gets rid of the magic string or magic numbers as they call them, so that you're not constantly saying, oh, this is equal to this. And I'll probably change the others too, so that instead of these paths, it'll default to a proper URL. That way, again, if we ever want to be like, take us to logout, I'm not and somebody either makes a mistake or we ever need to change it everywhere in the system, it'll just change it once, and it'll change it everywhere where we do log out. We'll do one more and check in here in user slice. Default home path. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and test that. Login. Yep, takes us back to slash. All right, cool. So that's the login system, the bearer token. I've created an authorized route that if a person isn't logged in, we take them to login. That's it. We just have a bunch of authorized routes. I have my footer, my basic navigation, which again uses a lot of Redux to do stuff. There's just so many pieces. So let's go ahead though and create the user profile pieces. So let's go ahead and switch over to that. And then if people ever have questions, they can always just ask and I can break it down. So one of the things I wanted to do was come over to our store and kind of clean up some of that stuff, because I'm using paths on a lot of stuff, and it's grown kind of big. So we'll do a user profile slice, and inside user profile will be all of the pieces for user profile. Let's break up our exchanges 1, 2. And again, this is just to kind of keep things clean. Every developer has their own particular strong preference for how they want to organize things. Refactor everywhere. And I broke it in a bunch of places. It looks like Frontend, source, and index. It should now be, no, that's right. Line 40. Exchanges.slice. Oh, I think I messed up. Let's go over here to our user profile modules and clean you up. Let's take you out and import you. There we go. That fixes it. So it didn't update it there. But while we're here, let's go ahead and fix user profile. And I'm okay with the person getting the user profile. So again, the idea behind the user profile is that a person can update that information, but I also need to bring it from the back end, because the idea will be once a person logs in, we're going to create a type of several things. One, we're going to create kind of a wizard that walks them through this process, which is a whole other ball of wax. But that's let's kind of take it step by step. One, let's do the user profile piece first. So we need to get the user profile from the back end. So we're going to create a slice like we've done all the other slices. There isn't anything to pass to the back end. Let's double check that. So let's go to our back end, our sources, user profile, and let's take a look at the controller. You can post to create one, delete, put, and get. And there isn't anything. So we won't send anything to the back end, but it should return us a user profile. If there isn't one, we'll have to figure out what to do from there. So it's going to be handled no matter what the same. So now we know what the backend looks like. Let's go ahead and create our slice, and we'll create our slice similar to how we did the exchange slice. And why is that? Is because the exchange slice also doesn't have any parameters that are being sent to the back end. So let's put you two side by side, and we'll kind of we'll go along the same lines. So we'll import, we'll create our name, our reducers, and now everything for the most part is generic up here. So you're good to go. This is going to be user profile. There's our slice for that. And again, here's this stuff is kind of generic. So this might be something that I want to look at one point, is how I can create kind of a generic creator for these rather than manually going through one by one. Now our application isn't very large, so I don't know if that's a thing that I need to really worry about, but it is something to kind of keep in mind for everyone going, for other people, is as your application starts to get larger and larger, how do you want to handle that? So let's create our initial state. And our initial state is going to consist of really just the user profile. Let me think through that. Yeah, just the user profile object. So we'll mimic it similar to here. Let default user profile. And I use empty quotes. Why do I use empty quotes? I was going to set it to null, but I don't know why I set it to empty. I guess I could have used null rather than empty quotes. They mean the same thing, but not exactly the same thing. We'll put a try here. We're going to try to get the information from local storage first. And it's literally going to be the same try catch with a different series of names. So let local user profile storage data, and the key is going to be user profile. That's what we'll store it as. Default user profile. You're going to parse. And then we're going to return it down here. So this is what's going to be our final piece. Exchanges user profile is going to be equal to the default user profile. So there's our initial. I don't really have any default reducers just yet. I might though. Because we need to be able to post. But for right now, I don't really know what I would use delete. I would know that when I would need to update. But let's create all the pieces and then kind of go from there. So there's our default reducers. Let's create our extra actions. It's going to be the same base URL, but I think I called this endpoint user profile. Yep, I did. So then we have our user profile, and our get endpoint is, we're going to call it get user profile, and it's going to be the same thing except the word action. There's going to be 3 or 4. I don't know when we would delete. So we're not going to incorporate delete, but we could down the road. So we're going to do a get. We're going to do a create, and we're going to do an edit. Yeah, I'll do that. Each of them will have their own individual action, and we'll create those in just a moment. And then here's our extra reducers. And again, a lot of this is going to be exactly the same. So we'll kind of grab you as an individual function, paste you down here. And for this one, we don't actually need to do anything with this. There's no need to export default. But here's our extraducers. So for each one, we'll have its own reducer. And let me double check something. Because I did this over here. Yeah. It's just 4 separate functions. So, where was I? Get profile. Yep, there's going to be 4. It's going to be create user profile, reducer, and edit user profile, reducer. And we don't really need all this on the screen anymore. We kind of have the general layout. So now, let's write them. This is going to be part of the get user profile action. State error. We're going to get the profile. We're going to get the profile. We're going to JSON stringify it. And I think I literally called it user profile. Yeah, I did. User profile is just going to get updated. Set item. User profile. User profile. And set item. No, it should have been profile. Profile. So there's your there's now the create. The create's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to get it. Our create's going to be a little bit different. There's nothing really to do for create. Create. So when we create the user profile, we should actually, how do we want to do this? If we get a certain response back from the backend. So this is one of the things that you usually do is normally when you do a create, you pass back the full object to kind of say that it's been created successfully. But in our particular instance, I didn't do that. I just said true. There wasn't really a reason for me to do that. So in this particular instance, we're still going to get that user object back from the payload. But what we're just going to do is say if it sends an OK, send back the information from the back end, like send back the OK. Yeah. So when it sends back an OK, I'm sorry, it'll send back the information. So this is fine. Create and get are pretty much going to be the exact same code. At least on the reducer side, you're going to get the user profile and update it. And the edit's going to be the same too. We'll just send back that edited information. They're pretty much the exact same. I wonder if there's a way to build them all so that I don't have to do 3 individually. I think the better approach would be to create a generic function. And attach them that way. I wonder. Let's look. I got the time. It's not like someone's pressing me to get this done or something. Let's see. Redux toolkit. Using the same function in reducers. So let's take a look. So I guess you could call the same function. Let's ask. Let's see if someone's done it somewhere. Oh, ChatGPT, where art thou? ChatGPT, tell me a thing. Let's ask. Oh, ChatGPT, tell me your secrets. So, let's see. Using Redux Toolkit and extra reducers. Using Redux Toolkit, create 2 extra reducers that use the same function. Let's see. So, yeah, that's what we would do. We could just build a reusable reducer with a state and an action. Yeah. So, add case. We'll still need to add the case though. It's because it's the exact same thing. State and action. So there it is. But let's see. We use the same builder. A reusable builder. Let's see. Reusable reducers. Yeah, there's that. Builder. I see. Yeah, so we could have a common action and then update the value. We could. I think I might use one for user profile because it's the exact same. So function update user profile. And it's going to take a state and an action. And because they all have the exact same code here. And function default error case. And that's also going to be the same. Yeah. Yeah. So it just has the state though. So default error case, it's going to be the state. Rather than rewrite this a bunch of times, state.error equals null. And add case pending default error case takes a state, and you're going to be a state and an action. You're going to do all of this stuff. So you're just going to be update user profile. C, Control V, and then default rejected. C default rejected takes an action. Oh, state in an action. And you're going to be down here. And it should be default rejected. Default pending. Yeah, we'll call you default pending. And we'll change you to default build. And that way they're all the same. And they match up to what they're supposed to be. Default rejected. Yeah. Default rejected. And you're going to be default pending. Because they all three take the same. It's the exact same thing. All across the board. All across the board. And then we can take all of you and just do replace you. And all of you and just replace you. And we have default create. And we have one more for edit. Yep. There we go. So now we've taken all of you, we've taken state, and we just need to create the actions. So yeah, let's come back over here to our project and create the actions. We should probably change these from exchanges slice implemented to what we're going to change this one to, which is going to be user profile actions .js. User profile slice actions. User profile, yeah. Let's do slice actions.js. That way we know that it's associated. But I mean, in general, it should be known. Yeah, let's just do actions. I think slice actions is redundant. Clearly, we're in store. We're already looking at the slice. Let's go ahead and refactor you. We'll rename you to exchanges actions refactor. I broke something. It did. No, that worked. What are you gonna be about? Oh, you're not. Oh, yeah, cool. Where was I? I was writing actions. Of course I was. Let's come and drag you over here. Let's come over here. And we're going to do the same thing. We do need the bearer token for this. And I think in user profile, let's do one at a time. Get, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. We need get user profile action. So let's export const. We'll have it include the base URL. You're an arrow function, and then return create async thunk parentheses. And by saving, you'll add all of me semicolons. It's the same thing we do over here. Name is going to be get user profile. And we'll pretty much do the same thing we do over here. We'll grab all the way from here to, is it here? I think it is. Yeah, it is. So here down to here. Copy you. Now in this particular instance, we need the bearer token, which we do get. And let's take a look at our controller. For a get, don't pass anything but the bearer token. It is a get request, which is fine. And I don't have any additional pieces to the URL, so it's just, it would be a get to user profile. So that looks good. If response is okay, not okay, we don't actually return the JSON, but we do return the value here. So that's fine. And we reject. So this one's done. That was a pretty easy import because it's just a straight getter. The create's going to be a little bit more complicated. So we'll do the same thing. Export const create user profile, and it's pretty much going to be similar coding. And again, here's where someone might say, hey, why don't you create a much more generic approach to this? And I think I will. I don't think I'm in the right head at the moment. I'm a little tired. So for our create, this is going to be a post, which means that up here, we actually need to accept a few things. So let's take a look at what this request looks like. It's going to be of type new user profile, which is going to have the preferred exchange and the preferred language as a string. So let's just grab those from this side, preferred exchange and the preferred language. And we will get to those in just a moment. We'll import you. Let's define what never used. We'll do the same thing that we do in the user piece. So we'll come down here and we'll say body is going to be equal to JSON.stringify. Which is funny because I'm using Axios on the back end, but I'm not using Axios on the front end. I'm using fetch instead. I don't know why, now that I think about it. I don't know why. I could just not. But for some reason in my head, let's take a look at something. I have the time. It's not like I'm in a hurry. Let's take a look. Fetch versus Axios. I don't know if I have a really strong feeling about it. Let's take a look. Well, we could do it with Axios. Backwards compatibility. Oh, it's a wider browser support. Like IE 11 can run it. I see. With a polyfill like this. An optional timeout property. Oh, that's not bad. Automatic JSON translation. That's not bad. I don't know if I really care about the interceptors. Oh, the download progress might be nice. I see. I don't know. I don't know if I feel that strongly about it. Maybe for the progress indicators. Maybe that might be a region to use it. I see. That might be a good region for Axios. To assign the properties. This might be a good reason to use it. Oh, that's what I also wanted to look up. Errors in React. I don't have a way of tracking errors. Let's look. Somebody has an article on it. So, error boundaries. So let's take a look at this. Error boundaries, I see. Greatly simplifies error handling in React. So it doesn't look like it's bad. And then we log it with third-party client-side logging service to log errors. Sentry. Redux logger. I see log level takes the place of a standard console log. Let's take a look at Sentry. I don't feel strongly one way or the other, but is it? Well, let's take a look. And it will provide a convenient interface. Let's see. Performance monitor and tracing. Session replay. I see. Sentry doesn't sound bad. Developer. Doesn't sound bad. Not bad. I don't dislike it. I don't know if I need all of that just yet, but I do think that might be something to incorporate. Let you replay problems as if they happen in your own browser. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. I wonder if there's a cost to it. Free forever. 1,000 sessions per month. Yeah, a lot of this is like a third-party dashboard. I don't know if I need that just yet. I think it's a thing to keep in mind as an extra. Let's see. Add a logging system. Yeah, I think it's a thing to keep in mind going forward. Yeah, going forward, I think it's something that I'd like to incorporate. I think log level. I'm sorry, Redux logger, or yeah, is probably the approach that I would take. This log rocket, I think, is the approach that I would take. Though I don't hate it. Doesn't seem bad. And I guess Redux middle? Oh, I don't know. What is this? Oh, alright. You're not. You have nothing to do. I was very confused for a moment. Alright, let's do it. Let's use Axios. Let's break a few things and see what happens. I don't use it often enough. I use fetch a lot. I don't use Axios as much as I used to. That used to be my go-to for a while, and then I kept dealing with a bunch of students who couldn't use Axios, and because fetch is built in, I just opted for that. So it's been a while. I don't know why I'm so tired. Actually, give me a second. I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and grab a drink real quick and something to nosh on. I am back. Give me a moment. I'm nomming on those tasty rice crackers. All right. Have a quick drink. Coke Zero. Here we go. So, let's go ahead and install the Axios library. And then we have to implement it and integrate it. So let's cancel out of view. Let's switch over to our front end. And let's install Axios. I wonder if there's a specific React Axios library. Let's look. Nope, nothing specific. Let's see. Oh, I see. Post a request for a user with a given ID. What's the advantages of this? Oh, it's an Axios component for React with child function called back? Component driven. I dislike it. I just don't know. Hmm. I don't. I don't know why. I guess it's all right. Hmm. I don't dislike it. Seems fine. Um. Let's look. I guess it would simplify our endpoints. I have used Axios in the past. I don't really feel that strongly one way or the other. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I don't really feel that strongly about it one way or the other. Let's finish our incorporation and kind of go from there. We've installed it. So. Um. We should probably create, since I'm doing it all the time, a universal way to do posts and get requests. This is a lot of information. Um, and I'm not really good at this type of stuff, creating universal functions, so this would be really good practice for me to kind of dive into it. Uh, hmm. Because we're repeating code a lot. So, let's take a couple different approaches. Let's see what our friend old ChatGPT has to say, and then modify it from there. Well, let's see. How would we word this? There we go. Create a generic HTTP method function using Axios that can do posts, get, put, patch, and delete. Generic create some generic HTTP functions using Axios that can post, put, patch, and delete that can accept a bearer token it can accept an optional bearer token. And what else do we want to do? And return any errors as an array of strings. Let's see what it comes up with. It always tells you to install Axios as if you don't know, but hum, 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 hum. Not bad. Not bad. Let's take a look. Let's test it out. I see you put it as I see. Let's see if we can adjust the above code. Let's see if we can. Hmm. Hmm. I see. All right, let's give it a try. Yeah, we'll call it the HTTP service. Why not? Save. You're grumpy about something. Yeah. Create. There's that. Data's errors. Yeah, all right. Let's give it a try. Let's wait. Yeah. Yeah. Let's give it a try in the user. Let's break it real quick by creating a proper folder. And we will move you up to here, refactor. We will refactor you and recall you, so you're just going to be user actions. And let's open you up and give me a try. So instead of this long, complicated thing, show context actions. The URL. Let's log in URL. And we could perhaps move that somewhere else, but we'll keep it here. URL. No, this should be a post. There's no bearer token in this one, so the data is just going to be email and password. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, we could do this. If error simplifies our code too. Error. Otherwise, we return with the data. It's actually much simpler, cleaner code too. Yeah, let's rewrap it in that try catch though. Yeah. And e.message. I think that's just cleaner. It's not super clean, but that's pretty clean. We can even one-line it. A lot of developers really like this one-line thing. I don't know why. I'm just not in love with it like they are. Catch. Yeah, that's simpler. And it's literally the same thing for the register. I could have register do more, but at this particular point, I'm not sure what I would have it do. Hold on a second. I need to adjust that. That was wrong. Try. I'll paste you here. This is actually replace register, and I have it replacing the wrong thing. So that again is less code. Always less code. Well, it's more code in other places, but less code here. It's a really weird. Like people are always like less code. And you're like, I mean, is it actually less code? It's just going to be the refresh URL. There's no reason to even bother. We'll call you this, and I guess there's not even a need. There's not even a need. For you though, it should be register, and it should be register URL. And it's just so generic. We really could just kind of write this into its own smaller sub function when we do a try catch. And actually, why don't we export const? We'll call you login register request, and you're just going to have the URL and the params, URL and the data, and you're going to do the exact same thing. It's going to be the same thing every time. So why not just simplify you and put you into your own smaller function? Refresh is going to be a little bit different. Try catch. You're going to do this for me. So instead of this, you're going to be in the form of data, the URL. Yeah, we can do this, async, and then this. So then potentially we can do this, return login register request. We'll take our data. What is it, URL? It's going to be login. Yeah. So login action, even less code. So login URL, login. I think this is easier when you don't have someone breathing down your neck. Like as a developer, you genuinely want to, you kind of want to do this type of stuff, and you just want to create things. So I guess not everyone's that way, but like I enjoy creating things. Now I'm doing this because I want to, but like when you just don't have someone breathing down your neck, I find this to be a lot easier. I don't want to say easier, but I do think that it feels a little bit better. For the refresh one, refresh URL, the data is just going to be the refresh token, which is what it is. Yeah, other than that, I think it's exactly the same. Yeah, it's going to be exactly the same. These are all post actions. Yeah, these are all post actions. None of them are. So that's that. Let's come over here to our exchange actions. You're going to be a getter. But since there's only one here, we want the bear token, or you do want the try. But we're going to use this approach up here. Const data with error. It's going to be this approach. And the URL in this case is just going to be this base URL. There's nothing special about it. There's no actual data. And it's a GET request. And in this particular instance, there is a token. Yeah, I think that's it. Do I have any? I don't think I have any post requests that are empty. That's good. Otherwise, it should be GET request, right? Yeah. Let's wrap you as the bearer token inside the try too. That way, if something goes really weird with our bearer token, we have that. Yeah. This is cleaner. We have to test it, of course. And you know what'll happen is I'll test it and find out there's a problem. All right. So, we got to do the broker's slice. And we got to do one for stocks. I'm going to put the bearer token generator in a helper because it doesn't really belong in the store either. Let's go ahead and we finished that. Let's change our stocks to where was I? Wow. Let's go ahead and clean all of you up. Stock action, bearer token, blah 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 blah. Cool. So you're going to be the same. We have a bearer token. We're only going to get the base URL. We do need the bearer token. It is going to be a GET request. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing particular. Like once we've done it once, we could probably do it again. We could probably even turn this into a generic function. to just get base data, but we'll keep it this way for now. Because we only do it in 2 places, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'll want to change it for right now. Let's fix user profile though. So you're going to be the same. Wait, hold on. Let's change you first. Bearer token, base URL, get. Yeah. This just simplifies code a whole lot more. And then let's go ahead and do the same for this. So we need the bearer token. We're going to do a post. This is create. And you are going to accept const data is going to be equal to these 2 things. Oh, I just realized that I called you data up here, didn't I? Refresh token, you're fine. Data. Oh, because I moved you into your own thing. You should be called incoming data. I guess you're outgoing data. There we go. That's better. Otherwise, I was worried there because this is also called data. But hopefully scope shouldn't interfere with that. But, and here we just say refresh token. But, and we didn't change it in stocks or slices. The only other place we do it is in user profile. So we shall call you outgoing data. Actually, we could be more specific and call you user profile data. Cool, there we go. So bearer token, promise data token. And it should have made you optional, but let's double check that. It's just so much less code. Let's go over here to our HTTP service. Yeah. Error. Data can be null. All right, cool. And data is null for GET requests. So we have one more action to do. Edit user profile action, which is essentially the same one. So we are going to make you into also a duplicate. So we're going to take the code that you see here. This is a post, but edit should be a put. So you can't be exactly the same. So, well, all right, that's okay then. Creates a post, edits a put. So you can't be exactly the same. But for the most part, you kind of are. Let's grab all of you here, paste you here. You're still going to accept the base URL, except you're going to be called edit user profile. You're still going to accept the same data, user profile data. We're still going to need a bearer token. The only difference is you're going to be a put rather than a post. Same reject. Yeah, nope. Everything for the most part the same. That does make it a lot easier. I have to code a lot less. The broker slice. I could do a bunch of other slices in here, but let's see what we break first and go from there. We'll spend the rest of the session kind of just double checking and running things. Let's eat some delicious Rice Crisps. All right, let's log out. I don't see anything failing. Let's try logging in. See the generic one that I've created. Password. We log in. Let's try registering. Some@email.com. Password. Register. Hey, you work. Let's go to we're already at the dashboard. This seems to work as well. Yeah. Seems to generally work. Something loading? No. All right. Cool. So that seems to work. So we've switched over to Axios. We've kind of made a universal Axios point, thanks of course to ChatGPT. So that kind of works kind of nicely there. Let's take a look at something. Let's come over here and create all the constants that we need for the app. And that shouldn't take very long. Let's see, is there a best approach? For shared static. Let's see if there's a best approach. What's that? No. Let's see if there's something specific to React. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's a best way. I think we need to change it because they're global. That's one way. So they're doing the window dot. I don't really want to do it that way. I'm going to keep my approach. But let's group them together. Excuse me. Into an object. We'll call them app paths. Then we'll put it into a global object. And it will consist of the following. And that way they can all be kind of associated together. I like this. We can say app paths rather than just be like, so what's default home path versus another app URL paths. Home path, login path, home. And since they're already called paths, we'll just say home, login, register, user profile. Yeah. What else do we want to do? Dashboard. And normally I would do these with, like, say, an enum. So if this were, say, TypeScript, perhaps. So wait, nope, that's wrong. Somebody is talking to me. Oh, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Login. Register. All right. Path is going to be app paths dot register. Yep, there we go. And then app paths dot login. And then app paths dot log out. I don't have a logout. Yeah. I like this approach a little bit better because, again, like I said, down the road, and these are always things you can come back and do. So, like, I know one of the things that, like, developers can kind of run into is being inundated by just, like, there's all this stuff going on, and kind of you can break it down into smaller chunks, if you will. So it doesn't have to be done all at once. I'm choosing to do it in kind of pieces. Yeah. Let's find all the references to this, though, so that we can clean those up while we're here. And then I'll continue working on the user profile. Yep. Let's shrink you. Let's open them up in the find window, then we have all the references to it. And then we can just go ahead and quickly update these. This becomes app URL paths dot home. And of course, I don't have it cleaning it up. Yeah. So app URL paths dot home. And we'll do the same for the others. So let's clean up what other links we have. Trade journal. There's our dashboard. Let's do one for user profile. And then let's do one for, no, logout's not part of it. We need to do one for login and logout. Login and then register. Cool. Let's go ahead and take another quick look around and see, do we have any other references? Because I think I dropped /login somewhere else. Yep. Pages, user actions, know you're fine, routes. Auth route? Yeah, here it is. To login, cool. So that should be it. Yeah, that should be it. Let's go ahead and finish setting up the user profile. So I've created a modile that, let's take a look. Somebody sent me another message. I've created a modile. So we've created a modile that when it starts up, we're going to fetch the exchanges. The other thing that it's going to do is it should fetch the user. So when we open up to start, we should get the user profile. Get the exchanges. If we don't have them, then now we got to get the user profile, which we'll do up here. We'll set it to true if it's not already true. You're only going to do it once, though. And then we're going to await dispatch. User profile actions dot get user profile. That's user profile, yeah. Okay. So we'll get the user profile. What do we want to do? what do we want to do? It's not going to return anything because it's empty for a user. So one of the things we should probably do one of the things I should probably do is set up something on the user side. So on the user side, when they first log in, we should change user to ooh. So one of the things that I think you can first kind of get caught up on as a developer and as an architect is that you kind of think, I'll just add a flag here. So I think rather than trying to keep all the flags in on the user and constantly have to keep on the user and constantly have to keep updating the user object, I think it might be better to create kind of a table of flags. So we'll create a table of flags that says what person has or hasn't done. So it'll do things like in there we'll attach the user ID, and every time we want to add a new one, we can be like, oh, have they seen this particular thing, or have they seen that particular thing, and we kind of keep it as a flag in the database on its own separate table. We just add a list of like user flags. Then we can then choose to hide or show, and then it will be less attached to other objects, and it'll be a one-to-many thing. So we need to create a customized user validation system for special events and banners. Create a unique flag for each that the system can use for lookup, including first time setup. All right, so we get the profile. Right now, we don't do anything with it. But what I should probably now that I do have it, I should probably now, once it's done loading, and yeah, once it's done loading, this is a problem. So if so here's the concern that I'm running into is I have it so that it turns off the loading when we finish getting the exchanges, but the user profile might take some time. It shouldn't. It should take less time. But what I should have it do is I should have it watch. I could set up a multi-tier, so I could have it so that it watches for getting exchanges and have it watch for profile. And when they're both done, just turn it off. So let's do that. Getting profile. Set getting profile. Use state. Oh, false. Yep, we'll do that. And then we'll change it so that we'll do another use effect here. If no user profile, just return. Otherwise, when you did it, set getting profile to false. And if, and we'll do another use effect here. And this may not work. So yeah, this may not work, but let's give it a try. So we're going to use effect, and I probably have too many use effects in here. And you're going to monitor user profile, which we haven't created yet. And what you're going to do is you're going to modify, you're going to watch getting profile and getting exchange. And if getting profile and no getting exchange, we set is loading to false. We got to get user profile from somewhere. So const user profile is going to be equal to useSelector of x dot user profile dot user profile. Yeah, user profile. All right. And we'll do the same thing up here. Const user profile error is equal to use. We'll just copy. And you're going to be called user profile error. We have to come over here to our slice and update our slice because we don't include user profile. So we'll call you user profile, and you're going to be user profile reducer. And you're going to be export star from / user profile slice. Yep, user profile reducer. Export default store. So we come back over here to our modile. You're good. We don't do anything with the errors just yet, but we should. We should do the same thing we have here. So we'll call you user profile error and user profile error. So we'll display them down here if we have them. Yeah. Fetch. When we fetch user profile, we both attempt to set it to true, and we set getting profile to true, and we await. And we attempt to get the user profile, and then what do? Nothing. But we should probably pay attention to what's going on with user profile. Let's put a bugger in here, and let's see if we've broken stuff. So let's log in and break a few things. Let's see, is our terminal still running? Edit user profile. file. Oh, I forgot something. So in our slice, we did not finish importing. Import. Cool. And let's go ahead and log in now and test all of this code. Yes, let's log in correctly and test all of this code. Cool. So there's our code. Exchange. That happened pretty fast. Let's double check our network settings. Did we even hit up anything? Right. Yep. Broke it. Uh, same two reducers. Builder add case cannot be called with two reducers for the same action type. Looks like I messed up something. Let's take a look. Default pending, default pending. Create, create. Oh, I forgot to change edit. Edit user profile. Let's change you because you are wrong. There we go. So we refreshed. An error occurred. Request response. The model not found. User profile. Did I forget something? I probably forgot something. Let's take a look at our code. Backend. Source. User profile. User profile module. Yeah. Okay, you're there. Let's check our modules. User profile module. You're there. Nope, you're all there. Let's test our endpoint. Send. And let's copy you. Come on. What's going on with this? Duplicate. Get user profile. And it should be 3001. Send. Model not found. Because none exists. That's going to be interesting. So for the very first users, we're going to have to create it. That's going to be an issue. But at least our loading is going to be fine. So, there's nothing we can do about that at the moment. We're going to have to just accept that. Next is going to be to update it. But before we update it, let's give people an option of a list of languages and a list of user profile, user preferences. Let's give people a list of options. So once we have these, let's go ahead and do a map of exchanges. I think there's an easier way to do this. Let's see. Let's ask ChatGPT. Because we can. Yeah, let's see if ChatGPT has any suggestions for us. Let's close you. Yeah, there it is. Using React and React Bootstrap. How do we want to manage you? Create a... Oh, no. I don't have to. What am I thinking? I'm thinking traditional. I am thinking traditional. I am thinking about traditional bad things that I don't need to think about. It's going to be equal to the user profile dot, if it exists. And on the back end, clean up you are going to consist of two pieces that we don't talk about. We don't talk about anywhere. User profile actions, yeah. Preferred exchange. Dot preferred exchange, if you even exist. Otherwise, the default is US. Otherwise, let's loop through our exchanges, which we don't have. If exchanges and exchanges dot length greater than 0, then we're going to exchanges dot map an single exchange and an IDX, and that's that. And you're going to return basically an option. And let's take a look at what that data looks like. It's gonna be code, country. Let's do code and name. Oh, let's do code, name slash country. Yeah, code, name slash country. Name slash country, yeah. We'll do, the value is going to be equal to single exchange dot code. And for each one, we'll create a key that's going to be a combination of the IDX and the single exchange dot code, if it exists. That's going to be our key value, and the title is going to be the single exchange dot, I said it's going to be the name slash country. And let's see if it'll let us do this. Let's see if it'll care. See if it will. You will not. Oh, you will. US stocks slash USA. I think, did I hard code it so that the only thing it would, yeah, I think I hard coded it so that the only thing that it would ever give back is that one. I don't have a list of languages. I should create one. But since I don't, let's go ahead and get the save working for this. So when we hit save, there isn't much to really do here. I'm not using React hook because there isn't anything to hook. But we should save. Event default. We'll console log the preference and save. And then I guess we should get the user preferences. Where we don't keep it anywhere. Huh. Well, I guess we do. I guess we do. Oh, value option. Value is going to be equal to user profile. Dot preferred language. Yeah, there you are. There's nothing to on hide for right now. So let's see what happens. I want to see something. So let's save. Purpose and saved. And it's null because there's no user profile. There's nothing there. I need to get these options into, I imagine, a local variable. So let's see something. I want to see something. Let's see something, ChatGPT. I want to see what you have suggest. Using the following code, how can I dispatch new values for the user profile? Profile. Let's see. Mm-hmm. I see what you're saying. I know that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. That's what I was wondering. Mm-hmm. 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 So we'll add that in. That's what I thought. Yep. I'll set them to local variables. Yep, we'll set them to local variables. Mm-hmm. Yeah, preferred language. Use state. Yep, we'll get that. With that. And from this point, the value is going to be preferred language. And the value up here is going to be preferred exchange. Yep. And then we can come over here and we can dispatch there it is. Edit user profile. I wonder if it'll let us save this if we can't find it. That's going to be an interesting one. I think I have to create at the first one. Hmm. Let's go back to our code here. Come over here. Lies. Create or update. Yep, there it is. You can upsert. Yep, there it is. Upsert's the way to go. I think it's called. There it is. Upsert. Search. Upsert. There it is. Let's see if there's some examples. We have a primary key different from the ID and scenario. One primary key. Hmm. Hmm. Looks like there's a bunch of problems with upsert. So, if that's the case, let's come back over here to our project and upsert. We can probably do upsert in a lot of instances, but here we are. Create, delete, edit. We should probably do this instead. Await this user profile model dot upsert. Yeah. Yep. So profile dot upsert dot dot dot. I guess user ID. Yep. Here we go. Profile. Let's see if that works. So then when we come back here, I don't know why I closed that. Like there's some other front end, like it's somewhere else. So when we do that, let's finish our slice. Preferred language. All those pieces are in places. So then it's just the model. Move out the way. Update user profile. Preferred exchange. Preferred language. Wait. Async. Let's see if there's any errors. if if and if there's no profile errors, then we can hide. But let's see something first. Let's put a debugger statement in here. I just want to see what's going on, because I don't trust things, and you shouldn't as a developer. Just don't trust it. Let's console.log user profile error. Cool. So now we're on this page. Going to change it. Let's save our preferences. Options, put preferred exchange should not be empty. Yep, you are not doing anything with it. But we only have one option. I guess I'm going to have to change it so that we do something slightly different. Oh, I know. We'll fill it in with the default action. So we don't get any errors back. Oh, you know what? ChatGPT probably did this too. And yep, there it is. Oh, I didn't, because I am an idiot. I am an idiot. All right. Yep, I'm an idiot. Advanced exchanges. Clear out. Let's refresh. No errors. Display any errors. So something is wrong. Let's go back here. So many things. Okay, let's start off here with our slice. So you should have failed and hit this. So let's try that again. Let's take away that use effect. It's interfering with my stuff, my debugger. So let's take you out. Let's take you out. I mess up something in my approach to actions. If error. Let's see what we have here. Debugger. Yeah, I see what you're doing there. Now, what happened when we get save preferences? Oh, I see what the problem is. I don't catch the error. So let's come back here. Let's come over to here. Make request. Handle errors. So it's here. And here. And then maybe here. So change, play, 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 save. There's our debugger, which catches that there's an error. Response is that. So when we handle the response, so this is what I'm seeing. Over here, we have our error. Here's our error.response. And I'm gonna play through and see which one of these it hits. Play. So we're here. So when we step over this, errors. Hold on. Response dot data dot message. Response dot data dot. Ooh, we want dot message dot not dot errors. So this is the type of stuff. Because I actually kind of cleanly handle this. Kind of cleanly handle this, but not everything will. So let's take a look. Where was I? Where's all my debuggers? Here we are. Oh, you're in Chrome. No wonder. I'm gonna look on the wrong thing. Sources. Data. Dot errors. You don't have any errors. I guess we should capture the errors. Let's do this. Let's capture both the errors and the message. So let's come back over here. Errors. Const. Messages. And you're going to do this for the messages as well. See messages? Yeah. Error dot response dot data dot message, not messages, dot message dot message. Yep. Or that. Let's combine the two. Combined errors is going to be equal to Errors. Messages. And then, okay. Okay. Yeah. So user profile actions. I left a debugger in here. Let's clean you up. Let's clean you up. Okay. And our user profile service. Let's rerun you to see what we get. Change. Unknown server error. Okay. Save preferences. That's not right. Let's kill you. Let's do an inspect over here to our network, our sources. Let's put a breakpoint in here. We got some breakpoints. Errors. Messages. Okay. Step through. What? No, that's not right. Did I mess up on that concatenation? Oh, we'll do this. I see why. Empty array. It's not an array. So back here. Messages. Oh, let's look at this. So let's do the following. Array.isArray. If it's an array, then you so this is going to be complicated. Let's do this. Let's get array from error messages. Error messages. If there are no error messages, return this. Otherwise, we return array.isArray error messages. If it's an array, then we return them as they are. Or we return that. And then we do this. So now you should work better. So let's try that again. Data. Let's change error messages. Unknown server error. That is not the error. Is it? No. That's not correct at all. So let's try that again. Okay. All messages is model not found. 0. Oh, I see. I see. It's that map. Um, you return them as just a straight array. So if what you want to return is if the error dot message, if error dot message should be the following. Error dot message exists, return error dot message or error. We'll use this ternary statement here, or unknown server error. Yeah, that'll work. So let's play through you again. Yep, play. There it is, model not found. Cool. And when we save preferences, play, preferred exchange should not be empty. Which is fine. Apparently what we're sending back is an empty everything. But why? Yeah, let's take a look. Play, yep, model not found. So let's come back over here. So we solved one of those things. Let's clean out all these debugger statements so we don't have them just sitting around. Excuse me. Let's clean you up. Why aren't you set? Because by default, let's put a debugger statement in here. So when we take a look at you and hit save, let's see. Despite us setting them, it should be set to US and English.us. Let's see. Let's let me test something real quick. Something's not making sense to me. It should have been set the default of the US. So why is it that when we change over to here, you finish either specify the value prop, but not both. Oh, I think it's a problem with the default value here. It might be me because I've set it to both value and default value, and therefore it's causing other issues. So let's see now. Change, save. Wow, that's weird. So, but I know why. I know why. Profile never changes. We never get the profile. So we never hit this point. So by default, we should set them somewhere else. Preferred exchange, preferred language. So now we should, when we save, that saved correctly. Now when we reload it, we do have that data. And let's go ahead and check our data grip. There it is, but let's see if we save it again. Let's see, did you create a second record? You did not. What did we fail to do? When we said edit, I know what we forgot to do. So on our user profile slice, what we said we were going to do is for these actions, is we're returning data. But that's the get user. For the create user, what we said we were going to do is we want to return this data. I understand you're not going to be used. You're going to be all types of grumpy about it too. Create user profile, and you're also going to return back this. Show context sections. Yeah, you are going to just hide for right now. Because there's only two options. It either succeeds or it fails. All right. So then let's go back to our user profile slice. And when we do edit, let's see what we get back. Debugger. So change you. Save. Cool. What we don't do is we didn't need to, all right, you're right, you're right. So now we have it so that we can edit the user profile and hold on. I want to know what's happening here. I created some code to debug something in the beginning, and then when it didn't, yeah. If there's no errors, yeah, if there's no user profile error, then we want to on hide. Yeah. Awesome. So let's refresh you again. Change, save, cool. We're not consoling log anything. We are saying that the preferences are saved. We could delay the hide for a moment and say, you know, preferences saved. So I think let's create, because we have a loading, let's create an additional one for is saved that overrides this one. Yeah. Let's take this code. Let's run it through ChatGPT real quick and have it create for us. Because again, I don't feel that strongly about it. Here, please take the following code and add a modile that appears and adjust the modile so that when the references are saved, the modile empties and a font awesome green checkbox check appears. I save the modile form disappears and the font awesome green check appears, letting the user know the information has been saved. Oh, stop. Oh. Yep, that works. We already have. There's our saved model. There it is. So let's grab you two. And then we want to create is saved. I'll do this. Oh, that's a good point. And we need to adjust you. Adjust the above code to add in a loading while the preferences initially load. It took away that piece. I knew there was something. This is only the downside with ChatGPT. Like little thing. Gotta play around with that. You gotta have to know and notice those things. Hmm? Here it is. It's saved. See, now it took one away. Let's do the following. So we'll create one for loading. If is loading, then display this one. Is saving, we'll display this one. So yeah, we'll grab you. We'll do this. Is loading and when we're saving, is saving, we'll do this one. The is saving right now. Is saved. Is saving. Set is saving. Cool. And we'll test all of this out. So when we're saving, we're here. When we're loading. When we're loading, we're here. When we're thing, and then finally we'll do an is saved. Is saved, we're here. And we'll do is not loading, and is not saving, and is not saved. Then we'll do that. All right. So let's run through how this is going to work. So when we handle prevent, when we handle submit, we're going to await it. Try catch isn't bad. I don't know what you would catch, because we already handled that. We wait. Let's wait it. Yeah, we'll do a set timeout. Let's do 2 seconds. Because I want to see the saving. Is set is saving to true. Then you will start. Wait for it to finish. Set is saving to false. Then set is saved to true, and then hide. If, and we'll take this away. If there's a problem, return and set is saving to false. Let's see how badly I messed that up. Let's refresh. was an issue. There was an issue. User profile. No, here. There must have been an issue. So we awaited. The saving is true. Let's put a debugger here and see what happens. Change. Save. There it is. There it is. Cool. Let's add a forced delay to that loading. And we can take it away at one point. Do we want to add a forced delay? Cool. Let's actually go ahead and mess around with this. Let's application. There it is. Localhost, local storage. Let's get rid of the exchanges. Well, that'll log me out real quick. Log in. Yeah, that'll log me out real quick. Just killed all of my cookies. So let's put you in and let's see how this works. If you're a person who's just logged in, log in. Cool, don't save. Go to our profile, change. Wow, that was... something failed. Oh, let's see what failed. Fetch exchanges. Oh, okay, that was really, really bad. Something's off. I feel like I'm testing in like weird things. So let's do an inspect again. Storage, local. Refresh. Have the exchanges. Yeah, that gets it's so fast. It's blooming fast. Save preferences. Preferences save successfully. Cool. Well, it's there for people with slow connections, so it seems all right. Let's take it away. So let's do the following: handle submit. No need for a set timeout. We will try. No need for debugger here, which you didn't catch last time anyway. Sometimes it's really weird. If there are any users, then yeah, nope. So that allows me to now save our user preferences. We should do a dashboard at one point. But anyway, I'm going to stop there for this evening, at least streaming. Kind of get into the code. I'll probably, the next time I do this, which will be Wednesday, I will probably have the change password features implemented and at least somewhat of the dashboard done. yeah, yeah. So let me implement the change password, and then I'll implement the dashboard. Anyway, thank you again for joining me on another coding journey. I'm going to continue to develop this. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll actually be able to input a trade and monitor how one's trades are doing, and do all of that, so that we kind of have all of that kind of put into place. And one kind of as a bonus feature, I'm thinking it'll have the ability to import from, say, TD Ameritrade or Webull or so forth and so on. So, all right. Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And I'm going to go ahead and end the stream there. I hope everyone had a good Christmas, and hopefully it'll be a good start to the week for everyone. Have a good day. Take care.